Hello, everybody, and welcome back here to the CVRcade Talk Show. My name is Jesper Anker. As always, I'm joined by Victor Lundquist and Beth.
Oh, she's not here.
Beth. Hey, no, sorry, Beth. Beth is currently out of office, so the show must go on. Before leaving the office, she did make sure to contaminate the cold. So far, Victor Lundquist is surviving and free, but it has clogged up my face, which is why the broadcast last few days has been quite interesting. And like I am dreading tomorrow. We'll see how that goes.
Oh no,
That's
that's gonna be fun.
coughing. But anyway, Vic, you and I, just like the old days here in the studio. How are you doing today?
I am good. How about yourself?
Good. You ready to talk some CV Arcade?
Always. I'm always ready.
So, since last week, last episode was Friday. We've had the CV Arcade World Cup week one. That was on Saturday. And we'd have week two of the CV Arcade Solo Cup begin here on Tuesday. Let's pick up with the premier event, the event that will be, gathering the most amount of eyes because it's got the big prize purse. The CV Arcade World Cup, Vic, got off to a good start. It was Team Cycling Hub scoring 600 points in the preliminary result and
Yeah.
leading that one. What were your thoughts from Saturday's racing?
I thought it started really well. We saw it's great to see all the teams, on the start line for one event, and it was really interesting to see, how Cycling Hub did win, and I mean we have to agree that there were massive favorites, whatever, but they definitely show that they're human because I think it was very, very close before Submerged Stadium. But the racing was just so intense. We saw Rocky Mountains with Sebastian winning. The celebrations are getting more like my kind of celebrations, yeah, which are quite funny. And I thought it was a great way to start off the World Cup. And I mean, we have 7 more weeks of this now. But I think one thing to take away is definitely that Cycling Hub can be beaten, which is for the platform at least is a very good thing because what we want from a entertainment perspective is exciting and close racing. So I thought it was a good start.
I fully agree because the takeaway, because first of all, the intensity has just gone up. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
as we're recording this podcast, it's Wednesday. Yesterday, it was a solo cup. Oh my goodness! And Saturday was no different. Like we almost hit 100 kilometers an hour on the low skill event, the first event of the racing. Absurd, insane, and I think that's only gonna get higher and higher and higher. And I think these results are somewhat misleading because there's over 100 point differential between Team Cycling Hub and Cognition, but that's not really how the racing unfolded. I mean, Sebastian single-handedly carried Cognition as Homer, as Jonathan. They were doing their best, but Seb was just so strong. Cycling Hub, they look good, but it was Submerged Stadium where they took first, second, and third that really
Yeah.
put in the difference maker. I honestly think that this could be the beginning of the end of the Cycling Hub dominance. And Vic, I've been saying this for a while
Big
now,
words.
and every time Vic, you go, Jesper, nah, Tim's gonna jump out there, Chris, it's gonna be Quentin, Casey,
Yeah.
but Cognition, Sebastian has been good. Velocity, Carl has been insane. Now we just need the second and the third riders because Vic, the luxury that Cycling Hub has is that they have Tim Fulford, but then the second and third, you've got Quinton Molyneux and you've got Casey Shum, and let's not forget Nils Heldens.
Yeah.
Vic, who can we look to Cognition, to Velocity? We'll touch on Hive, but let's just round up the podium first. Velocity and Cognition. Who really needs to, up their game a tiny bit to help out Carl and help out Sebastian?
That's a good question. I think, yeah, definitely. Cognition had some there was definitely a big description between Sebastian in the front, especially on Rocky Mountains, the way he was just miles ahead of everyone, and then I think we saw Jonathan and stuff a bit further down, and I feel like what we need from them is just a tiny bit more if they can just make the reason why Cycling Up are so good is because all the riders are able to win a race consistently. And what Connection need to do, and Velocity for that matter, is to you know, never give up. Like the fourth, fifth position is probably what's going to win the race because like Sebastian won on that track or map, sorry. But like it's the battles further down that's going to do it. So I think just everyone like I think everyone has the capability um, to win as a team. I think you're like your mental whatever, like your mental state needs to change. Like you can never give up a position, and I feel like those battles further down is going to make or break the points for the World Cup.
Now, looking more in depth, because I think that's more the broader view. I mean, I think
Yes, it is.
Victor's it's a bit hesitant to say specific names. Don't worry, that's why I'm here. I am the spanner thrown into the
Calling out
works.
people.
Like, I know Moti is sick right now, and that's all fair. Homer is good. Homer has looked like if he can come in there, if Homer can win a race or two, I think that'll be a massive support. If he can come in, do what he did last week, on Rocky Mountains or Temple
Yeah.
Run, I think it was, where he never looked back. He's solid. But then you need Jonathan, you need Louise, you need Allison, but I think Allison may be the team captain. You need Luis, you need Jonathan. These are two very strong riders that just need to increase it a tiny bit. Then we look at velocity. Nigel has been solid. He was the team captain and he did his fair share of work as well. Nigel and Carl together, beasts. Vibeke has just been on the verge. And I think, like, one of the most engaged pieces of content that have come out in the last week is Vibeke going like this, like, banging the drums as she crashes on Country Rally in the Solo Cup. If
Funny video.
Vibeke can sort it out, if Beth can come back to her form, Velocity and Cognition, they've got the possibilities. I think these three teams right now are all equal. I think it's Cycling Hub's decision making under pressure that really just itches them above here, as we'll see how it unfolds. But Vic, Team Hive, Havoc, and Cade Exhibition. Let's not forget him. It's only week one.
No,
Sorry?
no, I just said no. We should not forget him.
Oh, I thought you said, like we missed somebody else. No,
Wait.
so
Oh, there's more teams. Sorry, no, I'm
well, it
kidding.
might be. I mean, Cryogen, Tam, where are they? I know 3R as well, but
Yeah.
let's not paint with brush like large strokes. Let's just remember there's so many more weeks of racing. Just let us not jump to
Exactly.
conclusions. But Team Hive, Vic, I have to say a disappointment. But what do you think?
Massive. I mean, I will call them out right now that like Hive were looking so good in like the lead up, the run up we had. Timothy, Jennifer, they just looked Ben as well for that sake. They just looked like they were like hitting like the top form, like beating everyone, and everyone kind of just were like, "Oh my god, like they will do so well. They're gonna like smash it, right?" But then we saw Ben. He kind of struggled. It looked like he was suffering quite a lot. We don't know. Maybe it's like tiny bit of illness. We know, as you mentioned before, like Modi's gone, like illness. I think it just felt like usually when we ask people if they're racing, it's like half of them just said, "No, I have pneumonia. I'm ill. I've just
After
done
was
this."
like, yes,
Exactly. And
I'll get on.
yeah, but it just felt like it was definitely like lackluster performance from them. I think the biggest takeaway is just that like Kayla and Jennifer just need to like step their game up for week two to make them like in contention for the win, because we know how good they are when they're on it, because they've displayed very good team tactics in the past, and I feel like gelled as a team. I think they could be, but we just need. It's so hard with physical equalization because you just need to hit those like good numbers you've hit all the time, and especially as I've said before, like Jennifer, Kayla, if they can just make that effort as they've done in the past, I feel like Hive could be definitely in the contention for the overall win, in my opinion.
I like it, Vic. We go through Cycling Hub, we go through Cognition, we go through Velocity, and you're like, I don't want to name names. We get the high. Victor is like, get out the bazooka, everybody. No one is safe here.
You
Ben,
started it.
Timothy, Caleb, Jennifer, now you're added. You may as well add Glenn in there. I do want to say to anyone listening here, no harm meant
hard
with this.
feelings.
We're just analyzing it from a broadcasting point of view. If it does make you any happier, once this illness is out of my body, I will be live streaming some physical replays of my own. So I will be racing again. And you can blame Aaron Starlin because he was the one who's like, Jasper, you've got to do Zone T. And I got to race. I'm not able to race the CVRcade Cups currently going on, but I can do the physical replay. So don't worry. If you feel like you've been mistreated by any of the podcast members, don't worry. As soon as I get racing, I get streaming, I'm fully expecting you guys breaking down my mistakes, and you can send it right on back. Havoc, Cade Exhibition, we'll see more from them as the weeks progress. But then, Vic, we can quickly touch on what happened in Zone L, because I don't want this talk show to run too long. We're 10 minutes in, but Zone L saw the first ever Xbox meets PC meets Mac. What did you make of DK Mansuni? We had Lance Roll Storm, we had Wim Moisen in there, man. Glenn on a keyboard, then controller.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really fun to see, crossplay being activated for the first time. And we just saw like this different dynamic of having, the controllers in the racing. And I mean, I could just imagine from a physical rider standpoint that having someone just tap tiny bit of like the trigger and then they're doing like 1400 watts or equalized watts, sorry, is really, really funny. But I thought the racing was really, really, really fun. Different, definitely. But it was just funny to see how, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but I do recall, like, I think DK Mansuni, he didn't care about any of the other riders. He was just holding down his trigger, doing 1400 all the way. So he was just like beating all the best lap times, whatever. But then we saw some other controller or Xbox riders that were actually like in helping with the riders. And I definitely want like more of this, because it just shows that anyone can do CVRcade. And I feel like it was a good start. It's definitely different compared to the keyboard, which doesn't really do that much power wise. So it was a fun test, and we're gonna do it again on Zone L now, first day and Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So
correct. Now it is worth mentioning that as of this current moment, a controller, it has fatigue, but is not as strong as a keyboard. That is being looked into. That is being looked into. So it's not going to stay that way forever. So Xbox riders, enjoy the power you've got, but over time it will be dialed in. Because right now in the Derny Cup, which is again going on tomorrow, it's like the keyboard and the physical are dialed in. It feels to me as a broadcaster, it looks pretty fair out there, pretty even amongst them. And when the Xbox gets dialed in too, that's going to be fun to watch. I enjoyed it. The two different approaches of I'm going to race and win. That was Glenn. It was DK. And then there was Wim and there was Lance Roll. More of the role-playing type. They wanted to stick with the riders in the pack. They wanted to help out. They wanted to feel like a cyclist. And I think we'll see more of this divide happening, that, the racers want to race and the role players want to role play. So we'll see how that all affects. But
playing.
No, well, if you look at GTA, the reason why GTA 5 got, revived is the whole role playing just blew up, and all these massive servers of role playing. So maybe CVRcade role playing, who knows, one day
that will be a new Facebook group
to the next steps. Then we've got the Solo Cup, which has just happened yesterday, Vic.
Yep.
Quinton Molinez, once again, dominating. Casey Shum, as well, gathering quite a lot of money. I think Quinton won $70 this week, preliminary. Casey also around the 50. What surprised you yesterday, and what didn't surprise you?
Oh, what didn't surprise me? I think Quinton being good, Casey being good, that did not really surprise me. I'm not really sure if I can't remember at the top of my head all the racing, if there's any surprises. I think Jesper, you're gonna have to fill me in on it, and I'll probably be like, oh yeah, of course, that was very surprising.
I'm looking at the results here. I think K panned out probably the way people imagine it would. I'm looking at the preliminary results. You had Casey winning it overall. You had Quinton in second place, Sebastian third, Ben fourth, Jeff in fifth. I think that's pretty. If you were to put a booking odd maker out there, I think those odds would come on through. Did Cesar Deowikiba come back? Now, he doesn't have an events pass, so he's not eligible. No. Quentin took it. I was impressed with Homer and Sony. having his Mountain Dew. He looked good. I
It's not
think
surprising though.
you can talk to Zone T in a second, but for me, Zone L, how that planned out with the grudge match. Because,
Oh yeah,
like, Quinton and Timothy, I like it can be like WWE, like it could be a play for the for the entertainment for the masses, but every single beef does come from a place of truth. It comes from a place of I feel this, and then you may over exaggerate it, but I feel like yesterday was 100% real. They both wanted to win. They both wanted to cut off one arm if they could win the overall that way. I mean, and then the end, attack the middle. That bit of gameplay with
oh
the
yeah, that
butts,
was
that is excellent. Like, if you watch it at a first glance, you're like, it just pans out this way. Timothy saved his power-ups, he goes on to win. But there's so many nuances with Timothy keeping his power-ups until the incline on the end, choosing to save them. Whether he gets lucky or not with the butts, that's such an RNG element of where the butts are on course at that given time. But having them, going through them, getting the extra draft and then coming through and then overhauling Sebastian, that's an exciting finish. It's a finish that'll be talked about, Vic. I enjoyed it, but I
definitely.
think, like, this is just week 2, Vic. I can see this getting so intense going forward.
Yeah, I just when you mentioned like the Quentin Timothy battle, it was definitely like a different like intensity. The way they were riding was just like I was gonna say this, but like nothing we've seen before, really. Especially on Dust Bowl Crit, which had the power up or supers mistake. So there was like I don't know. I think they had like not unlimited, but like refilled during like a random period of time. But that map was just incredibly exciting to watch because they were just battling it out, and both of them. I think what we saw yesterday was two riders who are so incredibly good at the game that I'm like
Yeah.
mind blown. Like I can't even say half of the stuff they're doing because it's like only they know because they know exactly like every single like lane you need to be on and whatever, right? And that I think that was one of the things we have to take away is like the one-to-one like super good riders racing against each other. It was just incredibly like entertaining to watch, really. So definitely from Zone L, I will take that away. Now, like Zone T was Casey, who managed to do his clean sweep of winning every single race, which he failed in the previous Zone K, which was funny that mistake he did on attack the middle, but he managed to make up for that mistake and actually win every single race. And I think one thing to talk about as well is just how like consistent these riders are, like especially like Casey, how he can just miss out on winning like every single race in K and then do L as well, and then just come back 7 hours later and just win every single race.
But I think that's why he gets, like, these guys. I think earlier today, Vic, I said to you, what sometimes makes the stream very enjoyable is when some of the riders get miserable. Like, you can just feel when they're like, this isn't how it's meant to be. I'm supposed to be better. And that's a testament to how good they are. And I'm the same way. The first thing Victor, by the way, said, guys, is that why you're so entertaining to watch, Jesper? You're always miserable. So don't worry. What comes around goes around. But Casey, Quentin, they come in, and I think everybody expects. I think they expect themselves to have a good performance. And so when you have an off day, because that happens to everybody, when you do get sick, when you do show up with fatigue and you don't do well, that's when Casey throws the beat on. That's when Quentin kicks the door. And that's the sort of emotion that you just can't really replicate anywhere else. And that's why it's so exciting, because any given day you can win or you can lose, but you're in control. That's why, like, CVRcade, when you compare it to Zwift, to RGT, to Veloton, to whatever else is out there, Ruby, this is the only platform that I feel you're in control of your own race. Like, how many times did we see people crash on Dust Bowl Crit yesterday? How many times did we actually see Quentin crash, Casey crash, Timothy crash? some might walk into that might walk away from that experience going, oh, that's utter, you know what. But then Timothy goes, well, look at me. I forced a mistake out of Quinton. I came through. Quinton across 3 zones. Amazing to watch. I can't wait to see what the Solo Cup has in offer, because personally, I'm feeling like that one is probably the day where I wake up and I'm like, we've got 4 streams today. I'm gonna have fun in the broadcasting studio. I love the slick overlay. I love the racing. I love the storylines, and I love the people. I think it's awesome. I can't wait to see where it goes. Now, here on the falling rope, we do have the Derny Cup tomorrow. We had last week with Carl Axel Sander almost single-handedly winning it for Team Night and Morning for Velocity. Not Night and Day, which would have made sense, but Night and Morning is what they called their team. Vic, Derny Cup tomorrow. We saw 3 teams near the top last week. Velocity, Night and Morning, Team Cycling Hub, and Hive Hornets. What are we expecting tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see most likely something similar. These racers are so good, so the ones that are on top usually perform well every week. Be interesting to see. I'm not sure. I think one of the things we might see is Velocity Night and Morning might do a bit less good, purely because Carl's efforts last week were just so incredibly good that, like, even for him, like, he's really good, but like to replicate that is going to be difficult. And Jeff, we saw he was lacking on the keyboard front, so I think they might struggle a tiny bit. But we might see another amazing performance from Carl. Who knows? I think one of the dark horse or the horses, I guess, because they're 2 people, would actually be Chris on a rider, as a rider, and Cameron on the keyboard, because they were very gelled last week. They were definitely not contesting the front, but they showcased that they're very gelled as a team. So I feel like if they can nail down the maps, if they can just know the corner speeds, not crash, work as a team, I feel like they could actually even podium tomorrow. So I think those is going to be my bet on as doing really well without anyone expecting it. But yeah, I think we're just going to see more racing. The more the Derny Cup goes on, we're just going to see the keyboards riders getting better, the physical ones, and I feel like we're definitely going to see more teamwork happening. As the cup moves along, with everyone getting more comfortable with riding as Derny teams. And I will also give a shout out to Homer and Seb. I feel like they could do well as well. One issue though is that it's not the 4th Omnium of the day, so Homer might be, he might not be warmed up at that point. But I feel like they could also do well, because I think they definitely showcased some team skill last week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Zone K tomorrow.
And Seb did provide us with the best highlight I've seen so far. I'm sitting there like this, just listening to music. Now, I do hope that I think Peter might be ill currently, but Vibeke has been practicing on the keyboard. Me and her, we went on Tiki turns the other day. We went back and forth. I beat her time, but then Glenn and DK were like, I've got a controller. I'm going to go beat your time. And I'm like, come on, guys. I spent a solid 10 minutes getting this time. Now I got to spend another 10 minutes. I like Tiki turns. I hope we get to see that race soon. But looking at the maps for tomorrow, Dark Matter Tech, Mountain Bike by Jasper, Alien Sea, and Lakeview Lanes. It's a bang standard Omnium. These are the maps that you should know like the back of your hand. This is what you should be ready for. It's an Omnium that I've seen that could be open to anybody. I think it's going to be good. You say that Carl may be going down, but you have to remember, even if Carl goes down, if Jeff comes up, they still do the same results. So they're still top 3. True. We will see how it turns out Derny Cup tomorrow is Zone K, broadcasted on Mixer. Zones L and maybe Zone T tomorrow, depending on interest, will be open racing. If you want to race with us on a keyboard and on Xbox, let us know. But please let us know, like, when you come to this point, let us know on Facebook, on the comments, if you're interested, because we're not going to put on a broadcast if not enough interest. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, so we got to make sure that people are racing. But until then, Derny Cup is tomorrow. We've got Saturday is week 2 of the CVRcade World Cup. I can't wait. I mean, this is my favorite time when, you know, the cups are all flowing, prize money is coming around, storylines are, you know, coming up to the forefront of the podcast. That, by the way, we didn't want to announce it today because our better half, you know, Beth York, is currently out of the office.
Be a bit rude.
We want the whole team back together, but as of next week, we've got new branding. No more of this identity crisis, multiple personality disorder, Kate Talk Show, Kate Podcast. What are we? We'll have a dedicated brand as of next week. Now, be on the lookout, because I will be racing physical replays at some point once I get over this illness. And no, I'm not going to sweat it out of my body, because it could go both ways. Either way, let's just sleep it out. That's the best way. But until then, guys, keep a lookout. We'll be back on Mixer. We'll see you then.